Welcome to the McAnulty Method, where financial expert Frank McAnulty and Colin Sorrells share their knowledge and insights about the financial world with us and answer our questions. And Colin, I think I will start with you today because you had a very interesting question or comment.
Well, yeah, I'm sitting here. We talk a lot about how to get that first job, and I think the thought came to me, okay, I let's say I have the job. One of the things that hit me was, everyone gets caught up in the pay. Well, am I going to make 60? Am I going to make 80? Am I going to make 40? What am I taking home every week? And I've worked at a couple of places, and I thought, there's a lot more when I work at a place, for example. Getting half your health insurance paid for is a pretty good deal. Not everywhere does it. They pay it at a different rate, but there's other things that add value to it. So, Frank, I know you alluded to a big one, but let's start with some of the maybe simpler, more common ways that we can add value.
Oh no, I want to go straight to the big one.
The big one? All right, let's go straight to the
Oh,
big one. No suspense.
you need to look at your career as from a strategic viewpoint. You're starting out. What's going to help you the most in the long term? And so there are companies that will pay you more. I had this conversation with a student a couple weeks ago. They're going to pay you more, but they're just going to put you in a job and you're just going to work and this, that, and the other. Then there's companies that may pay you less, but they're going to give you training. You're going to get to train in certain things. They're going to pay for you to go to school, not college, but their own schools, their own training,
Well,
and
some of
things
them
like
might
that.
pay for you to go to college.
Yeah, some will pay you for you to go to college, but you're going to build job skills that are much more transferable and that make will help your career take off a lot stronger. I had a conversation with a friend of mine who worked in an aerospace company for his entire life. Smaller aerospace company. He started, bottom in while he was in college, and he just recently retired as president of that division. So he was there his entire life. And we talked once about because it was like this person made a decent living, but it was like his boss made 10 times as much because he was over six divisions. And it was, the conversation was where in his career did he take this road and my friend stayed on this road? Not a bad road, but this road went up like this. This road, meandered through the woods and, everything else. And so I know people, you're graduating from school. I didn't think this way when I graduated from school. It's like, I just got to get a job, right, Bill? That's all we cared about. We're going to get a job, And you're right, Colin. All we cared about was how much we were going to make. I'll be honest with you, But now, looking back, might have looked at it a little differently because you've got to think of, and it's hard. You don't know what you want to do for the rest of your life, but you want to look at what you'd like your career to be like, and maybe talk to people about what do you have to do to get there. It's funny. A neighbor of mine appeared. I didn't know this, but according to my sister-in-law, he was a very high executive at McDonnell Douglas and then Boeing. I mean, way high. So it'd be like, okay, if somebody wants to get into aerospace, I'm going to have them go talk to that person and see what path he chose to go way high versus, well, yeah, I worked at Boeing for 30 years. So that to me is more important than the money. It's the things in addition you're going to get. But you're right. 401ks. I talked to the president of Chevron Refining. He did a talk with a company I was working for, and his thing was, it's going to be a bad thing for the college graduates out there. He goes, if you get in this job, you're golden, and all you need is a high school education because we match 8% of your pay each month in your 401k. We pay ridiculously well. You're working in a refinery, on and on. So yeah, how much do they match in the 401k is a big thing. Allows you to put away a lot of money. As we've talked in the past, the more you put away young, the better off you're going to be later. But I really think it comes down to how this is my first job. How is it setting me up for the rest of my career? And how do you find that out? You just got to talk to people and see what they think and what feels right to you. Maybe you don't want to be a senior executive at Boeing and work 80 hours a week. Nothing wrong with that. But if you do, what's the path you got to take? And you need to get started on it now.
No, I think that's a very interesting point because, we go back to getting paid more early. I think, picking a career path where if you only want to work your 40 hours a week and have your weekends and all that, that's, there's nothing wrong with that. But, I think sometimes you get attracted to, oh, they'll pay me 70 grand a year coming out of college. Oh, by the way, yeah, we'll give you a 2% raise every year for the rest of your life. Or I could take that job for 40 grand a year, but there's promotions. There's ways to work up to that executive level or move into another part of the company where I can make 3, 4, 5 times what I'm making right now. And making that sacrifice at an earlier stage in your career to reap the benefits of it later.
Well, I think banking, and I'm not sure how banking is. Banking used to be a lot like that. You go to work in the bank. They didn't pay the best, but you didn't work too hard. There wasn't a lot of overtime and all that. And then eventually you start working with the client that, well, I really like this client. I really like what they do. And you become friendly with the client. And next thing you know, the client has an opening. You go, I'd like to talk to you about that opening. And you move out into that client. I mean, it's the same with CPA firms and that. If you really want to blow up your career, you gotta take those steps.
Well, then, let's take it one more step. So I'm at the let's say I found what I'm looking for. I found a career I want. Pay is, we'll say, whatever at this point. I'm happy with it. I'm at the table negotiating. What are things I should be keeping in mind, we'll say, while I'm sitting there? What are things maybe I should be looking for, trying to get, or at least being cognizant of while I'm at the table?
Well, you're a new young employee.
Assuming I have any negotiating power at this point.
Well, here's where I've seen people make mistakes. They look up the charts for a job and they say, oh, it pays from 65 to 85,000. So they go in and ask for 85,000. Well, yes, if you graduated from Harvard and you're going to work in New York City, that's probably an $85,000 job. And I've literally had this happen to me. Otherwise, the person that recommended you is going to get a call late at night and say, what the hell's wrong with this person? They think they're worth $85,000 a year. And then I have to call this person and say, what are you doing? You're making us look bad. Here's what you're going to accept. Move on. So one's realistic money. Two, I really think it comes at here's how you make yourself look like you're really going to be a good employee, somebody that wants. What training are you going to give me? What training opportunities do I have? What cross training do I have? What opportunity to work in other divisions or with other divisions so I can learn more about the business? It's all about you're saying all the things that sound really good to employ. Oh boy, this person really wants to do it. And in the back of your mind say, oh boy, this is all be good for me.
I like that last point you made. Looking for what will better your own skill set at the same time making yourself look pretty good. And maybe they'll give you the extra $5,000 for that or whatever. But I think on the money point, not coming in too high, also don't negotiate against yourself. If you throw out the first number and they say, well, what do you want? Don't give them another number because now you've told them how low you're willing to go, and they know you haven't come all the way down. Don't do that.
Yeah, but you can't start at the top. You look
No,
goofy.
no, 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 no. Start at 75 and
I mean,
settle for
literally,
65.
literally, this happened to me again 2 weeks ago. The person had the job. All they had to do was show up and not, I don't know, do something stupid, really stupid at the interview. They had the job. And they asked them, well, what are you looking to pay? They said, get paid. They said $91,000. Entry level position. Now, this person had some previous job experience in a completely different job. But it's like, okay, well, we're so far apart that we're not even going to discuss it because we know you're not going to be happy. That's what happens too. I really think the key would be more to push it. Okay, what do I have to do to get that next raise? What do I have to do to get to this level of pay? Once again, you're saying all the things the employer wants to hear. And what do I have to do to prove my worth to you so that you'll pay me more? What do I, and they may say, hey, well, if you go out and learn, you go out and take this class, which we'll pay for, we can move you up. Great. You're paying for it. I'm doing it.
No, that's it. And people who have to hire people, you made a previous point about, Frank, about show them that you want to learn as much as you can about the entire business and not just your job, because that's the difference. But, they say, they do think you're going to be just much more enthusiastic. And if you know the entire business, it's just going to make all your decisions that much better. So it's an excellent point. And Colin, you make a really good one too, with don't negotiate against yourself.
I'll do that.
Well, odds are nowadays you can usually find out what a job usually pays in a big company, in a bigger company. There's everything's on the internet. So you could be, but if you're going for the top of the range, that they tend to pay for that job. Why? Why are you worth the top of this range? What have you done that makes you so special?
It's all about the why.
It is all about the why. And the number one question not to ask in your first interview, well, how much time do I get off? Nobody cares. You're getting hired to do a job. We'll worry about time off later.
Or you might not be getting hired if you ask that question.
Right. But people do it all the time.
All right. Well, I think now is a good time for us to take some time off and call it a night on this one. Guys, thank you very much. And we'll see you next time on the McAnulty Method.